Our strip is
Decorating
a
a clean range,
strip,
right?
our strip project. It's the,
Virtual peaceful, I do the same
outlet
thing.
device.
Don't tell me to get your home here. Okay, the first word is idolatry. Please say idolatry.
Idolatry.
Idolatry is a noun, excessive or blind adoration, worship of an object. Okay, so idolatry, it's someone who just really, I guess they're obsessed with money, they worship money, material things. Could that be considered idolatry? Doesn't necessarily have to be an idol, does it? So everybody who has number one would need to do something for their card for idolatry. What is something you could draw for idolatry? What is it? People worshiping an idol or a rock. Yes, it could be anything. Worship a rock. The priest accused him of idolatry for worshiping a statue. Yes. All right, number two is adulterate. Please say adulterate. Adulterate. My math. Adulterate. It almost sounds like adultery, doesn't it? Adulterate. Well, it's a verb meaning to make impure, to contaminate, to taint, to corrupt. So if you think about it, adultery, adulterate, very close. The opposite of that is refine and refined. So the fumes from the automobiles adulterate the air. So something that makes something impure, right? Something that makes it not pure, it taints it. So to adulterate.
That one's mine, right?
Yeah, you're number two, yes.
So does that mean the root word adult means to ruin?
Would have to. I don't know. That's a good.
Because becoming an adult has ruined my life.
That's interesting. Well, you do get. When you are an adult, you're not naive. You don't look at things in that come here way anymore. So possibly. All right. So what are some things we could draw for adulterate?
Natalie said she's trying to get into the Google Meet.
Hello, mysterious voice.
Little strange.
Oh, strange voice.
We love hearing from you guys.
Tell me what to do next. No. One of these times our brains are exploding.
Miss
Okay, so
Wiggs,
guys,
did you hear
we're
me?
thinking about Yes, I did. Natalie
Okay.
Stickler's trying to get on.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Hold it. Just be patient. Hang in there. Keep trying. Okay, guys. Listen, we got a lot to do. Okay, so adulterate, to make impure, contaminate. This could be anything. I need an example. What could you draw for this? Adulterate.
Soda and Mentos.
Okay, yes. You don't really want to adulterate your soda by putting Mentos in it, do you?
Just draw somebody throwing out their mask.
Perfect. You don't want to adulterate the air by taking your mask off. Ironically, everyone in here has their mask off. Oh my goodness. I'm the only one in here with a mask on.
Oh no, like all of us
So
are.
y'all are not 6 feet apart.
Don't worry.
Oh, wow.
And I'm recording this.
Nice job.
We don't care.
You guys are doing it.
Well,
Okay.
see, here's the thing. None of us are the age of. You're not in the age of which will kill you. Unless you have a health
I
problem.
could. Okay.
Miss Riggs, are they
Okay.
letting class out early?
No. We're letting class out
Are
our.
they letting class out early for Browns?
No. They'll announce for our physical people. We will go around 9:30ish, depending on the time. I would just recommend my virtual people you'll have to get off in time to safely get to school. And I understand that.
That's what I was gonna ask. Are you gonna allow us to get off to go to school, or do we need to stay on?
You have to. No,
Stay on, but my service is bad.
you'd have to safely, stay until you have to get off to safely get to school on time for 9:30. Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay.
Is that for
Very good
pictures?
question. No, this is for Browns graduation coming at 9:30.
Okay, cool.
And again, all you need is a cap and gown. Now, he's got some really neat things to show you, but all you need at the end of the day is a cap and gown to participate in graduation. Okay. What is emanate? Please say emanate. Emanate is a verb, means to come forth, to send forth, to rise, to emerge. So if your word is emanate, what could you draw for emanate?
Sunset or something?
Well, to come forth, to send forth. Right, I think you could. The sun is emanating from the, where did it emanate from?
Rises in the east, sets in the
It
west.
does that.
The
Sure.
American flag.
The American-
Opposite way, because when we were in the military, we pointed towards because we're going into battle. So
Oh, perfect.
stars always have the
Emanate.
always point north.
I like it. Okay, good. All right, your sentence here. She tried to control her anger, but harsh words began to emanate from her. These could be harsh words emanating. So, I mean, I like those other things, the sun and the flag, but it could even be something.
I thought you were gonna say.
Metaphorical. All right, garish. Please say garish. Garish is an adjective, tastelessly gaudy, showy, glaring, flashy. The opposite is sedate and conservative. It says the gypsy costumes were too garish for my taste. So if your word is garish, what could you draw? Something really, really loud, like,
Speakers.
yes, you said speakers could be garish for the ears. All right, so I don't know if y'all know Liberace. He would wear these very outfits that were just solid, just different colored jewels and all. That was his garish outfit. So something that just really stands out. Like Lady Gaga, a lot of her outfits are garish.
Very concerning.
Right? They're not conservative, right? They're garish. All right, immutable. Please say immutable. Immutable is an adjective meaning unchangeable and fixed. Immutable. Enduring. The opposite would be flexible and changing. So it says the laws of nature are immutable. So if your word is immutable, what could you draw? Something that is unchangeable, something that's fixed.
Fix the car. You go like draw it broken and then draw it fixed.
But eventually a car would break down again, right? So it's looking at things that are never, you can't change it in any way.
Stars.
Cars don't change at all?
Stars die. Nothing.
All right, what about the
Everything
sun?
changes.
We have never seen a sun explode, so.
The
Yeah.
laws of nature,
Suns are stars.
immutable.
Which is true.
Okay, we're getting into the Christian belief. People who believe, that God, of course, is immutable. So that would be the kind of thing. Very few things are immutable.
Oh, the Christian.
Okay,
Changed.
diadem. Please.
Christian belief changed because every Christian back in the day thought that the earth was the center of the universe because God made the earth. But now we know that the earth is not the center of the universe.
There's too many dogmas of Christianity.
So
Right. Well, I just mean that he's
that's,
most agree that he
it
doesn't.
changes.
Christians agree that God doesn't change. He stays the same.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Okay, diadem.
It's just like, no.
Diadem. Please say diadem. Diadem is a noun. It means a crown.
Can you scroll down here?
Peter referred to his wife's blonde hair as her golden diadem.
Bring us, Rose.
Ah, yes, there's one.
Peter referred to his wife's blonde hair as her golden diadem. So if your word's diadem, what could you draw?
A tiara?
Tiara, a crown? Yes. It'd be great.
The top of somebody's head.
Yes. Okay, bucolic. Please say bucolic. Bucolic is an adjective pertaining to the countryside, rural, rustic, pastoral. I would draw, beautiful green pasture, rolling hills is what I would draw.
I would draw a tree.
The opposite of bucolic is urban, right? All right, so I think that we live in a bucolic area versus an urban area. All right, redolent. Please say redolent. Redolent is an adjective having a pleasant odor, suggestive, or evocative. Aromatic. The opposite would be acrid. So the new fabric softener is advertised as being redolent of a spring day. So again, redolent, having a pleasant odor, suggestive, or evocative. So what would you draw for?
Draw a spray, cologne,
Sure.
or perfume.
Perfect. All right. Impecunious. Please say impecunious. Impecunious is an adjective without money, penniless. All right, so im means not or without. The synonym is destitute, indigent. The opposite would be affluent and prosperous. Though impecunious, the man's pride prevented him from asking for help. So impecunious, what could you draw for impecunious? I can't say it. Impecunious.
Draw a tractor homeless.
Maybe draw a maybe draw a broken piggy bank with nothing there, right?
Draw Luther as is.
I would say maybe a broken piggy bank would be good. No. Okay. All right. Sedition. Please say sedition. Guys, sedition is a noun. Rebellion or resistance against the government, treachery, disloyalty. The rebels were charged with sedition when they protested the new dictator. So if your word is sedition, what could you draw?
Some people going against King John.
Okay, sure. Sedition. Any kind of
Finally find out that he's
you can use any kind of historical example there for rebellion or resistance against the government. Good. Sedition. All right. Defile. Please say defile. Defile is a verb to pollute, to corrupt. Okay, we had another word kind of like this earlier. What was it? Remember? To taint. What was it?
It was to
Y'all remember?
infuriate or like impure.
Adulterate.
Yeah, that.
Adulterate. So to defile is a verb meaning to pollute and to corrupt. The oil spill defiled the entire bay. So if your word's defile, what could you draw?
Factory.
A factory, defiling filth into the environment. Very good. Gratuitous. See, please say gratuitous. Gratuitous is an adjective. Unnecessary or uncalled for. Oh, wow. How many times do we see gratuitous actions everywhere? People think that just because they think something that you want to know it. And that's just not the case. He always gave gratuitous advice whether someone wanted it or not. And the best place for that is social media, which is something I don't partake in because I don't think I have a stomach for it.
Well, I mean,
All
at
right?
least it's the best.
You can also draw school.
Okay. Onus. Please say onus. Onus. Onus is a noun, a burden, responsibility, an obligation. When father died, Jake had the onus of running the farm. Really cool word that just means burden, responsibility. So if your word is onus, what could you draw?
Responsibility.
Okay, and what would that look like?
Draw a task force.
Okay. Impious. Please say impious. Impious is an adjective disrespectful toward God. Irreligious, profane, because the word pious, P-I-O-U-S, means religious.
Oh, that is
So I am is no, right? Not, right? Just like earlier, we had the word impecunious, which means without money. So I am impious, disrespectful toward God. What could you draw to show impious?
Make cross. Because I don't believe in them.
Okay, no.
Disrespectful towards God.
I'm impious, irreligious, profane. Okay, so some consider laughing in church to be impious behavior. The opposite of that is devout and pious, right? So just anything that would be considered disrespectful. Okay, just be careful and make sure it's classroom appropriate for that, okay? All right, next is caveat. Please say caveat. Caveat is a noun, a warning, an admonition, a caution. John had so much confidence in his ability that he did not heed the old caveat about swimming alone. So a warning, you could just make a little sign, someone that says,
No,
you know,
stop.
right, do not swim. You could draw a great big shark in the water. I don't know.
And then
Right.
have somebody dive in.
Okay, guys, so what we're doing right now, please make a little picture or draw a synonym of this. I'll come get it in a moment. My people at home are doing the same thing. They're going to post it to this assignment. It's actually not on there yet, so just hold it and it will be soon. I'm hoping I'm going to figure out what's wrong with my classroom. Yes.
I want to make sure that my number is 14.
14.
Is it 14 or 15? I don't
It's not right.
Oh my God.
All right, guys, just give me 1 second. Hey, that was, okay. Okay, guys, give me just a second. Lamaria is 8. Elise is 13. Who else here? Frankie, you're 5. Who else needs their number?
Should have went for 14.
Right?
Autumn, you are 12. Who else? Okay, give me just a second.
Like 14, like.
Okay, you, Caitlin, you are 10. Number 10. Who else? Heaven, Miss Heaven Ferguson. Heaven is 3. Anybody else? Yes, of course. All right, so guys, let me, as you're fooling with that, making this, I'm going to try to properly post. It's so aggravating, it won't let me do it. Problem scheduling post, please try again. That's what it is. I'm going to make a copy of it.
Oh, that you drew him. No. No.
I can't see it.
Okay, what number are you?
3.
It's EMANATE.
I'll wait till it's on
EMANATE, yes.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
I need mom.
I'm about to start.
I don't know why it's not letting me.
You need to eat more. Very similar, so I remember that word.
Okay, let's try this. Guys, listen.
All juniors, please go to the Fine Arts Center. Teachers, please release the juniors to go to the Fine Arts Center. Thank you.
Okay, so if he's just now getting here for that, it's going to be, well, okay.
I missed your forehead, I'm sorry. Really? Oh, I missed your forehead. I'm sorry. His head was right here. Was there for his forehead?
Where did it go?
Grace is right here. I'm gonna go throw it away.
Try.
It's my name.
That's what it was. Oh my goodness.
Can't help it.
Oh, that would have been so nice to have known yesterday. Okay. Guys, I figured it out. I got it.
What happened?
The English department shares a lesson 10 vocab. So I couldn't share it because it was the English department, so I didn't own it. So I had to make a copy of it, which it would have been great to have known that before now. But anyway.
Wait, aren't you the only English 12?
Well, no, we do. Miss James, she teaches comp, and I teach English 12 and AP Lit, World Lit. So we share, and we're actually all doing the same vocab. So now it's a new thing we're doing. 8th grade through 10th grade is doing the same vocab words. We're doing the same vocab as. Actually, the reason you guys are different is because Miss Eggers got to lesson 6 with you guys in this book. So we started with 7. So that's the whole thing. It looks like I'm not prepared for this morning, and I guess you could argue that I'm not, but I did do all this yesterday thinking it was something with Google Classroom. And so anyway, that's my problem, but it'll be just a second, guys. Figured it out. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add your other thing. The good news is this is going to be over and I won't have this for any other class besides you guys. Okay, so you're going to edit. And we're not doing any vocab today with sentences until, we're not going to do, it's not saved. It's still not saved. Oh, gosh.
You look like a Muppet. Kicks him to do something.
Okay.
You look like that puppet up there.
Okay, guys, it should be on there now. Should be on there. So there we go. Okay, it is on there. Presto.
We'll do that later. Is that what you said?
We're not writing sentences today. We will just, that'll be for the next time. Okay, all right, guys, so go ahead. If you got your card done, we're going to continue. We're going to start continue sharing the research. I will come back and get that card in a minute. In fact, you might just leave it on your desk and I'll get it as we go to Browns. Okay. Oh, guys. Okay, you need your word or your number?
What was it?
It's on Classroom now. Yep. So it's all fixed. It was a little error there.
I know, it's not wrong.
Yes. But they're funny. I don't care.
Okay.
Is it?
Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and continue sharing our research. And we are so happy to have more people who are able to do this physically this morning. But let's go ahead and pick up where we left off on our last class meeting, which was Thursday. And if we've already shared yours, you'll just have to remind me. It's been a few days. And so I'm just going to go down the row here. For Alex Meredith, did we share Alex's? Do y'all remember for romance?
I wasn't here. I had doctor's appointment.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So we did class. Did we read hers though? I'm trying to remember now.
Well, yeah, because you said that's what you were looking for.
Oh, okay.
I may be wrong. Who knows?
So Alex.
I know we got down to Canada.
Okay. Alex, are you finished with yours? Okay. So this is this. Guys, let's listen. I'm sharing now. We're sharing. Shh. Hey guys. We're sharing now. Okay, we're listening. Alex, do you want to read yours or do you want me to? Okay, and I do think we've already done this one, but it is, what we're about to read is a romance. It is Sir Gawain of the Green Knight, and that's the example you chose. It is going to include a knight who goes on an adventure. Some elements of romance include stories, fictitious events that are marvelous or even supernatural. We'll certainly have that in Sir Gawain of the Green Knight. It does not, though, always have to include a love interest, even though many stories do. Now, it's interesting because Sir Gawain of the Green Knight, he's probably around your age, Sir Gawain is. And there's going to be this married woman who tries to seduce him. Now, she is not a whole lot older than he is, and it's just very interesting, that situation. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, Autumn. Autumn has Mordred. Have you gotten yours ready yet? Okay, guys, let me go ahead and just make this announcement. I want to go ahead and get finished with this today, like sharing. If you're not able to share yours, I mean, you do need to put it on here. When you finish it, we'll go back and share later, but we want to kind of keep going. I want to eventually get to read the story, so.
Do I need to put mine on there?
It's not like you would on work side.
No, I meant, like, how do I need to put my information?
On this,
Yeah, because my information is on a different document.
you don't have to, you just attach it. You don't have to attach it to that one.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yes. Okay, so we'll come back to Autumn later. Chen Lin, Guinevere, I believe we've already shared yours. You haven't done it yet, so we couldn't have shared it. What am I thinking? You could have said, sure. I'm teasing. Okay, hey, listen, there's a lot of, that's very honorable of you.
I haven't been mine either, so when you can
There's no honor.
Has any,
There's no worry for punishment.
Yeah.
okay, why don't we save a lot of time here and just go for the ones who have finished it, honestly. Okay, so I know Luther's finished his.
Technically.
Who else?
I mean,
Okay, so I'm just gonna go for these kids here who got it up, and we're gonna go ahead and start reading because this is,
You already read about that.
so
you already read, that's
I can
awesome.
keep working if you want.
We could spend a whole year on it.
Well,
It's up
because
to you. Do you want to wait?
I don't know, because this is one, but I'm getting everything else. It's your call. I just need to know. I don't care because there's so much for me to actually kind of sit. Because there's so much. Trying to sit. I mean, I'm almost done. Yeah, I might as well finish.
Okay, all right, so again, hands up, virtual people. Shh. Hi, guys. Shh.
Hey.
We're gonna share with the people who are, honestly finished. You other people, not saying you're losers or anything, but I mean,
You are.
You need to get your work done, okay? You need to post it on this. I didn't say that, I said you're not.
I did.
You're not. Just post your work up here so you get your points. Guess what? Parent-teacher conference is next week. I've already invited your parents and guardians. We're going to have a phone call unless they want to come see me. Via the internet, yes, email. Okay, so, all right, so let's see.
Please pardon the interruption. Teachers and students, all juniors should be at the Fine Arts Center at this time. Again, all juniors need to be at the Fine Arts Center at this time. Thank you.
Okay, yes, okay.
We're going at 9:30, but our class is over at
Oh, did you?
9:40.
It is.
So it's only gonna be a 10-minute.
No, guys, listen. I should just take my mask off because nobody's wearing their masks in here anyway.
I mean, you said.
Just because this is pressing, I can't hardly breathe, so I'm taking off for just a minute. So we're going to go over there. It's going to last about 30 to 45 minutes. So, you'll go into your 2B quite a bit. I figure we'll be out by 10:15. So does that make sense to everybody?
Yes,
You don't
but
have-
we have, some of us have, work.
Then you just have to quietly get up and go. You just have to quietly get up and go. Get your packet. He'll give those packets out first thing, quietly, not making a big ruckus. Just so I would think you'd probably want to sit kind of not in the back, but kind of on the back row of everybody. Kind of slip out. If you know you're going to have to get out and go, please do it. Be courteous like that, okay? That's everybody. Okay. All right. So again, show of hands. I'm so ready to just start the story, but I want to share you're ready to share. Okay. You're just on another document. Okay, great. So, go. Kaylee. Okay, Kaylee, you want to share? Do you want me to? Kaylee's going to share. So here's the deal.
Hey guys, I'm really getting really ugly if people are talking when people are sharing. When my kids are sharing and someone's talking, it's like I get really upset.
Tenfold of what I don't know what happens to me. So would you like to come up here? Because I know they'd like to see you. They get so sick of looking at me and my bad side here. Okay. All right. And let me wipe it down. Hang on. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Knights were elite fighters or bodyguards that served servers or lords and were the most feared warriors on the battlefield. To become a knight, boys from the ages of 7 to 10 would first become a page and would learn how to handle horses, hunt, and start training with mock weapons. They would then become a squire and would start their education, study chivalry, and would start training with war weapons. Squires would also clean armor, hold extra equipment, and would look after the knight's horses. Around the age of 18, if all training went well, they would become a knight in a ceremony known as a dubbing ceremony, in which the knight would kneel before another knight, lord or king, who would use a sword to tap the squire on the shoulder.
Beautiful. Very well done. Thank you so much. And I want you to look how she perfectly cited her source. Perfectly. It's beautiful. Okay? It is beautiful. Very good work. All right. So now, who else is ready to share? Guys, you're getting points for this. You're losing points for it. I just need you to make sure you do your work. Yes. You're ready to share. Did you attach it or did you? Perfect. Thank you. Let me, hang on just a second, guys. Oh, come on. Are you serious? It's cold?
Oh, I unsubmitted it.
I agree.
Oh, you unsubmitted to fix it. Okay. So you're going to resubmit it. Okay. I'll make it warmer in just a second. Let me just enjoy the pool. Would you like to come up here?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was left in charge for a kingdom. Anyway, in his absence, he crowns himself king and lives on Christmas. He's known as the biggest treater of trees.
Okay, wow. Downfall. Okay, so guys, we're going to be reading Lamort, the author. So she told you exactly what you need to know. Basically, he is who kills King Arthur, right? Very good work. And she's going to go back and cite her source according to MLA, like a works cited page. Who else is ready to share? Ready? Frank, did you put yours on a separate or is it on the big one?
That's separate.
Okay. Would you like to come up here? Okay. Are you going to share it? You want me to read it? Okay. You had Excalibur. This sword is the most magical and most known sword that King Arthur pulled from a stone that showed that he was born to be king. This sword was made by Norsemen, and the Norsemen called the weapons Gram, which means worth its worth. It is a sign to whomever can lift the sword is worthy to visit. I think we've already read this because I remember stumbling over that. It's a sign. Okay, with the gods whenever they decide to go. Okay, and then you cited it there. It just looks a little bit wonky because of some things going on. All right. And you also had Lady of the Lake. Did we not already do this? I feel like I'm living a deja vu. I feel like I've already done it. Of course, I've been teaching 16 years.
Yeah, we did.
I feel like I've read this exact one.
You did.
Okay. Well, this is just great. Lady of the Lake. Lady of the Lake. All right. We've already done this. Thank you. Excellent. Who else? You're ready to go. Did you share it separately or did you? The big one. I'm going to find the big one now. All right. And would you like to come up here and share yours or?
If you want to read it, you can.
All right. Well, that's fine, Cameron. Camelot was a mythical castled city where King Arthur held court. It was a center of the kingdom of Lorgres and was the location of the astonishing round table that was said to hold 150 knights. It is described as the fantastic capital of Arthur's realm and a symbol of the Arthurian world. But after serving as the home of Arthur's and the knights, King Mark of Cornwall invaded the kingdom, but was unprotected, destroyed most of it. Okay, great. So all he needs to do then is go in and just type your source. And you want to do that according to like you're doing a works cited page. Okay, if you need help, let me know. All right, who else wants to share? Who's ready to share to get this over with? That sounds terrible, like it's a bad thing to get over with. Virtual people, who out there would like to share? Virtual, anybody? Anybody ready to share? Madison Golden, Haley Wooten, Hannah Smith, Hunter Henson, Jared Garner, Madison Turner, Stickler, Gibson, and Webb. Anybody want to share? Nobody wants to share. Everybody's quiet.
No.
No, nobody's ready to share. Does this mean no, you don't want to share, or nobody's ready to share? Is it both?
I don't want to share.
Okay. Well, I just appreciate you calling in like this on the phone. This is great. It's like you're on a radio show. All right. Well, who else?
Actually, no. It's both. When nobody wants to share.
Nobody wants to share. You are just selfish this morning. Aren't you selfish this morning? Are they selfish? I'm teasing. I'm trying to be funny and I'm not. So, okay. Well, so I guess we're going to go, since nobody's ready, and please do your work or I'll have to, what happens? It's like your bank account. If you don't put money in there, it keeps going down smaller and smaller. It's something for your grade. So keep putting things in your account, if you will. All right, let's go ahead then. And we're going to go to King Arthur's, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, and we're going to read this. And unfortunately, I do not have what we can listen, so we're going to read this together. Yes, read it together. And again, my virtual people, I know that you need to, it is 15 till 9, and I know according to however long it takes you to drive safely to school, I know that you'll need to be getting off to come up here. So please allow for that. And again, you'll just need to, you can put it in the chat or something like that and let me know. That way it's, I don't know what else we're supposed to do. All right. So Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, it talks about medieval aristocrats who are rich, that means rich people, relish tales of adventure, especially stories of brave and gallant knights. Although real knights were far from perfect, the knights of legend strove continually to obey a code of chivalry, a set of rules for gentlemanly and heroic behavior. Their code represented a combination of Christian and military ideals, including faith, modesty, loyalty, courtesy, bravery, and honor. The ideal knight respected and vigorously defended his church, his king, his country, and victims of injustice. Especially popular during the medieval period were legends of King Arthur and his heroic knights of the Round Table. The popularity of these tales was due in part to the idealized world in which they were set. It was a world of castles, heroes, courtly love, and magical spells, a world quite unlike the real medieval England with its plagues, political battles, and civil unrest. Lancelot was often presented as the greatest and most distinguished of Arthur's knights, and early tales that role was given to Arthur's. Yes.
Can I please see Lamaria Hankerson in the counseling office?
Yes, ma'am. She's on her way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lamaria, do you mind to do the phone protocol with your checking out and all? Thank you. All right. So actually, it's Sir Gawain's nephew, who was famous for his courage and unfailing chivalry. It's up there on you see it, on the little code, the QR code. Thank you. All right. So I was going to ask you all if you were going to, well, first I'm going to ask you, what is the definition of honor? Just honor. Someone were asking you, let's just say your little relative is asking, what's honor?
It shows that you can be trusted with anything and not be questioned of if you can do it or not.
That's credit.
Okay. So trustworthy, reliable. Honor. Can we all agree with that?
Mhm.
Anything else you want to add, or is that's pretty good? That's
Spot on. Very good.
spot on, perfect. Okay, let me ask you this then. Let's just say you're going to test someone's honor.
Yeah.
Test someone's honor. What would you do to test their honor?
Like, put $20 on the floor and see if they figure it out.
So you're setting them up to test them, right? See what they do. Because the right thing to do would be what? Oh, someone lost $20, turn it into lost and found, right? And if they pocket it, look around, nobody's looking, that screams things, doesn't it? Okay. So we're going to see about a knight's honor being tested here. And as we read this, I want you to listen. Y'all are so sweet. You didn't tell me that you couldn't see when I was reading. That this is a poem, and so it's going to have alliteration in it. And you're going to get really tired if I read the whole thing. So I really hope that people will help me read this. Track will be awesome. If you will help.
Can you hide yourself sharing?
Yes, I can. Just remind me to please, I don't know, not flash things up there I shouldn't be flashing. But would you like to come up here and sit, or?
Well, I can, I guess.
All right. Do you want me to start it and then you take over a little bit, or do you? Okay. All right. So as we read, I want you to listen to plot progression. And again, guys, I can't sit there and make sure you're paying attention. I can't be your mother. I'm hoping that you're the age where you're learning I don't have my phone out when I'm in class, because that's really taking on my attitude, my mind toward it. All right. So as the poem begins, Arthur and his knights are gathered to celebrate Christmas and the New Year with feasting and revelry. In the midst of their festivities, an enormous man, who just so happens to be green, bounds through the door. So this huge green guy busts in, and they're enjoying their Christmas time. Here he comes. Splendid that knight errant stood in a splay of green, and green too was the name of his mighty destrier. Fair fanning tresses enveloped the fighting man's shoulders, and over his breast hung a beard as big as a bush. The beard and the huge mane burgeoning forth from his head were clipped off clean in a straight line over his elbows, and the upper half of each arm was hidden, and underneath as if covered by a king's chaperone, closed around the neck. The mane of the marvelous horse was much the same, well crisped, combed, and carefully pranked with knots, threads of gold interwoven with a glorious green. Now a thread of hair, now another thread of gold. The tail of the horse and the forelock were tricked the same way, and both were bound up with a band of brilliant green adorned with glittering jewels the length of the dock, then caught up tight with a thong in a crisscross knot, where many a bell tinkled brightly, all burnished gold. So monstrous a mount, so mighty a man in the saddle was never once encountered on all this earth till then. So what does he look like? We get really intricate with this Green Knight.
Straight up zoned out.
Okay, you zoned out because it was really going in great detail about what he looks like. Okay, so the big takeaways, what does he look like? He's big,
He's got a bunch of like hairs on him.
got a lot, big beard. He would stand out if he went to Walmart. He's not even like he's green, but he's gonna stick out like Lady Gaga, right? Just really sticking out more than her, right?
He's a goblin.
Okay. Also, his horse is also decked out with green and gold. And just really curious, what does green make you think of?
The Grinch.
Oh, well, the Grinch.
Right.
But just like symbolism, like what do you think of when if something is green?
It's good.
You think of death?
Yeah.
Okay,
Green
death.
is the earth.
Well, I mean,
It's
honor, fatigue.
Green is the earth, nature, but it can also be very back. Green is one of those colors. It can be either one. Depending on
Poison
color.
ivy.
Honor.
Sure.
Plagues.
It can also be honored.
Green can be honored.
Because, in the army, we always wear green and we always have honor because it's in one of our,
Okay.
personal, it is.
But is that an army thing or a
Like,
green?
honor.
Is that an army thing or a
Self-service.
green thing?
So it has to do with,
Honor.
okay, honor. So here we have a, color. Just something. All right, so here we go. So guys, listen, again, it gets a little better. I know that was just a tangled mess of, not mess, but a tangled lot of words, descriptions. But overall, it's a really big guy. He's really decked out. He would stand out. And he looks a little bit scary. Monstrous man. All right, his eyes flash like lightning, line 21. And it seemed to many a man that any man who clashed with him would not long stand. So he's big and green and powerful. Line 25, but the huge man came unarmed, without helmet or hauberk, no breastplate or gorget or iron cleats on his arms. He brought neither shield nor spear shaft to shove or to smite, but instead he held in one hand a bough of the holly that grows most green when all the groves are bare, and held in the other an axe, immense and unwieldy, a pitiless battle blade, terrible to tell of. So what's he got in each hand? An axe in one hand. Holly. And what's holly?
Isn't it like some kind of a fruit dagger?
It's a little, well, holly, and it doesn't have here. It's like for Christmas. Don't we decorate with holly?
Yes.
So, and it means, yes, and it means peace. And we decorate with it. It's real pretty. So he's kind of carrying contrasting symbols here. This
Not
indicates,
really.
well, I mean, could be. This indicates possible harm, and this one's like peace. So let's see what he says.
Well, I mean,
King Arthur stared down at the stranger before the high days and greeted him nobly, and nothing on earth frightened him. And he said to him, Sir, you are welcome in this place. I'm the head of this court. They call me Arthur. Get down from your horse, I beg you, and join us for dinner. And then whatever you seek, we will gladly see to. But the stranger said, No, so help me God on high. My errand is hardly to sit at my ease in your castle. But friend, since your praises are sung so far and wide, your castle the best ever built, people say, and your barons the stoutest men in steel armor that ever rode steeds, most mighty, most worthy of all mortal men, and tough devils is to toy with in tournament games. And since courtesy is in flower in this court, they say, all these tales in truth have drawn me to you at this time. So he's like, hey, I hear you're the best. You're nice, the best around. So I'm just here to see how great they are. You may be assured by this holly branch I bear that I come to you in peace, not spooling for battle. If I'd wanted to come in finery, fixed up for fighting, I have back at home both a helmet and a hauberk, a shield and a sharp spear that shines like fire, and other weapons that I know pretty well how to use. But since I don't come here for battle, my clothes are mere cloth. Now, if you are truly as bold as the people all say, you will grant me gladly the little gain that I ask as my right. Arthur gave him answer and said, okay, so he's like, I've come here to do something. So here's Arthur talking to him. Sir Noble Knight, if it's your duel you're after, we'll furnish you your fight. Good heavens, I want no such thing. I assure you, sire, you've nothing but beardless babes about this bench. So Arthur's like, yes, we'll fight you. And he's like, no, I don't want to fight. These are young kids over here. If I were hasping my armor and high on my horse, you haven't a man that could match me. Your might is so feeble. And so all I ask of this court is a Christmas game, for the Yule is here, and New Year's, and here sit young men. If any man holds himself here in this house so hardy, so bold in his blood, and so brainless in his head, that he dares to stoutly exchange one stroke for another, I shall let him have as my present this lovely gisarm, this axe as heavy as he'll need to handle as he likes, and I will abide the first blow, bare-necked as I sit. If anyone here has the daring to try what I've offered, leap to me lightly, lad. Lift up this weapon. I give you the thing forever. You may think it your own. And I will stand still for your stroke, steady on the floor. provided you honor my right when my ending comes to repay. What is he suggesting? The Green Knight.
That he dies?
Well, he's saying, okay, yeah, he's saying, let one of your knights take my axe and cut my head off. All right, but I get to do the same thing to them in a year and a day. Yes. Yes, if you do the phone protocol, please. All right, so here we go. Let's see what they says. But let the respite be a 12-month and a day. I didn't get there, sorry. Come now, my boys, let's see what any here can say. If they were like stone before, they were stiller now. So nobody was wanting to do this. Every last lord in the hall, both the high and the low, the stranger on his dusty ears stirred in the saddle, and ferociously his red eyes rolled around. He lowered his grizzly eyebrows, glistening green, and waved his beard and waited for someone to rise. When no one answered, he coughed as if embarrassed, and drew himself up straight and spoke again. What? Can this be King Arthur's court? Said the stranger, whose renown runs through many a realm, flung far and wide. What has become of your chivalry and your conquest, your greatness of heart and your grimness and grand words? Behold the radiance and renown of the mighty Round Table, overwhelmed by a word out of one's man's mouth. You shiver and blanch before a blow's been shown. And with that he laughed so loud that the Lord was distressed. In chagrin his blood shot up his face and limbs so fair. More angry he was in the wind, and likewise each man there. And Arthur, bravest of men, decided now to draw near. So nobody said anything, and he's like, this cannot be King Arthur's court. You guys are afraid of me, right? And he said, line 105, by heaven, sir, your request is strange. This is King Arthur speaking. But since you have come here for folly, you may as well find it. I know no one here who's aghast of your great words. Give me your disarm then, for the love of God, and gladly I'll grant you the gift you have asked to be given. Lightly the king leaped down and clutched it in his hand. Then quickly that other lord alighted on his feet. Arthur laid hold of the axe, he gripped it by the handle, and he swung it up over him sternly as if to strike. The stranger stood before him in stature higher by a head or more than any man here in the house. Sober and thoughtful, he stood there and stroked his beard, and with patience like a priest's, he pulled down his collar, no more unmanned or dismayed by Arthur's might than he'd be if some baron on the bench had brought him a glass of wine. So Arthur's like, I'll do this. So Arthur's ready to do this. What's the problem with the king stepping up and doing this?
Declaring war.
Well, I mean, it's
Well, in the next year, he's coming back to kill him.
absolutely, that's the king. I mean, they don't want to, but none of his knights would speak up. So he's like, no, we're not afraid. We'll do this. And so the Green Knight's like, here, he's getting his neck ready, really all calm, like he's being served a glass of wine in a restaurant or something. All right. So then Gawain at Guinevere's side made to the king a sign. I beseech you, sire, he said, let this game be mine. So the king's nephew, Sir Gawain, says, let me do this. Line 125. Now, if you, my worthy lord, said Gawain to the king, would command me to step from the dais and stand with you there, that I might without bad manners move down from my place, though I couldn't, of course, if my liege lady disliked it. I'd be deeply honored to advise you before all the court, for I think it unseemly, if I understand the matter, that challenges such as this churl has chosen to offer be met by your majesty, much as it may amuse you, when so many bold-hearted barons sit about the bench. No men under heaven, I am sure, are more hardy in will or better in body on the fields where battles are fought. I myself am the weakest, of course, and in wit with the most feeble. My life would be least missed if we let out the truth. Only as you are my uncle have I any honor for accepting your blood. I bear in my body slight virtue. And since this affair that's befallen us here is so foolish, and since I have asked for it first, let it fall to me. If I've reasoned incorrectly, let all the court say without blame. So Gawain says what? Let me do this. What's the reasons he gives?
He doesn't want. He won't be missed, and he doesn't want Arthur to die.
Yeah, he's like, I'm the least missed. I'm worth nothing. I'm like the dirt. The only thing that gives me any kind of value at all is that I've got a little bit of your blood running through my veins because you're my uncle. He's pretty humble. All right. All right, let's see what he says. What line was I on? Without blame? Okay. The nobles gather around and all advise the same. Let the king step down and give Sir Gawain the game. So everyone's for it. They're like, sure, we're not going to miss him. Let's throw him out there. All right. So Arthur, and I'm going to let Tractor, if you're good, can you take over? Do you mind?
Sure.
Do you mind to read? Do you want to come up here? You're wherever you're comfortable.
I'll just read from here.
Read from here. Then I will. You know what I'll do? I will wash the mouse, and you can just. I don't know. I don't know what else to do, guys. So things so weird.
Right.
All right.
Oh,
Yes. Yes. God, get us off spot. Okay, here we go. Line 125.
Now if you, my worthy lord, said, Gawain to the king, would command me to step from the dais
Mhm.
and stand with you there, that I might without bad manners move down from my place, though I couldn't afford it.
We've already read this. We're rolled down. And it's my fault because I scrolled up. You'll scroll back down. Right there. There you are.
Author grants Gawain's request to take on the Green Giants challenge, or Green Knights challenge. The Green Knight asks Gawain to identify himself, and the two agree on their pact. Gawain then prepares to strike his blow against the Green Knight. On the ground, the Green Knight got himself into position, his head bent forward a little, the bare flesh showing, his long and lovely locks laid over his crown, so that any man there might note the naked neck. Sir Gawain laid hold of the axe, and he hefted it high, his pivot foot thrown forward before him on the floor, and then swiftly he slashed out at the naked neck. The sharp of the battle blade shattered asunder the bones, and sank through the shining fat and slid it into two. And the bit of the bright steel buried itself in the ground. The fair head fell from the neck to the floor of the hall, and the people all kicked it away as it came near their feet.
Okay, y'all getting what's going on? What just happened?
He died.
He cut his head off, and so what are people doing with his head? The Green Knight's head's rolling around like a kickball. They're kicking it around. His head. Just making sure you know what's. This doesn't happen every day. I'm just making sure y'all know what's going on. Okay. You're a tough crowd. Okay.
The blood splashed up from the body and glistened on the green, but he never faltered or fell for all of that. But swiftly he started forth upon stout shanks, and rushed to reach out where the king's retainers stood, caught hold of the lovely head and lifted it up, and leaped to his steed and snatched up the reins of the bridle, stepped into stirrups of steel, and striding aloft, he held his head by the hair high in his hand. And the stranger sat there as steadily in the saddle as a man entirely unarmed, although he was headless on his steed. He turned his trunk about that baleful body that bled, and many were faint with fright when all his say was said. He held his head in his hand up high before him, addressing the face to the dearest of all on the dais, whatever. And the eyelids lifted wide, and the eyes looked out, and the mouth just said just this much, as you may now hear. Look that you go, Sir Gawain, as good as your word, and seek till you find me, as loyally, my friend, as you've sworn in this hall to do, in the hearing of the knights. Come to the Green Chapel, I charge you, and take a stroke at the same as you've given, for well you deserve to be readily requited on New Year's morn. Many men knew me, the knight of the Green Chapel. Therefore, if you seek to find me, you shall not fail. Come or be counted a coward, as it is fitting. Then with a rough jerk, he turned his reins and held away through the hall door, his head in his hands, and fire on the flint flew out from the hoods of the foal.
Mm-hmm.
To what kingdom he was carried, no man there knew, no more than they knew what country it was he came from. What then? The king and Gawain there laugh at the thing and grin, and yet it was an affair most marvelous to me.
All right. So after they kick his head around, and then what happens?
It rolls to the guy with his head off, and he picks it up.
Yeah, picks it up, and then he carries it by the hair of the head. And as he's going back, what does he do? He's
He
talking.
was talking.
He's talking. His eyelids move up, and it's fully workable, even though it's not connected to his head at all.
That's why people are just kicking it around.
That's right. That's right. So he says, what does he say as he gets up on his horse? I'll see you, Sir Gawain, in a year and a day, right? New Year's Day. You're going to come find me. I'm the Green Knight Chapel. Everyone knows where I live. And I'll see you then. And what does this remind you of? You all are familiar with a story similar. Headless Horseman, Washington Irving. But now Washington Irving wrote that. Sleepy Hollow. And this is much older. This is medieval. So you know that Washington Irving had to have been inspired by this. There's so many similarities between the horse, the flint, and just everything, the head rolling around and picking it up and all. All right, so, okay, you're Sir Gawain. You've got a year and a day to look forward to this. Now, what are you thinking? Oh, I just had to open my mouth, didn't I? Right? I mean, I don't know what you'd be thinking. I mean, he did the right thing, but it was just, now he's got this to look forward to or dread, however you want to look at it, so.
You're just sitting there like, oh yeah.
Oh yes, this is what I've got to do. All right, and let me remind everybody, this is of course winter time. It's going to be a year and a day. Not the best time to travel in this time period, right? So, all right, let's keep going. Are you okay? Do you want me to read? Are you?
I mean, I'm okay, but
okay.
You can read if you want.
All right, well, we'll just, I'll read a little bit more. We'll trade. All right, as the end of the year approaches, Gawain leaves on his quest to find the Green Chapel and fulfill his pledge. After riding through mild country and encountering many dangers, he comes upon a splendid castle. The lord of the castle welcomes Gawain and invites him to stay with him and his lady for a few days. The lord proposes that he will go out to hunt each day while Gawain stays at the castle. At the end of the day, they will exchange what they have won. While the lord is out hunting, the lady attempts to seduce Gawain. Oh, great. Gawain resists her, however, and on the first 2 days accepts only kisses, which he gives to the Lord at the end of each day in exchange for what the Lord has gained in the hunt. On the third day, Gawain continues to resist the lady, but she presses him to accept another gift. So he's got problems. I mean, he's been out traveling, he's weak, he's tired, and of course now I know he's getting to eat and all that, but she just won't leave him alone. All right, let's see what happens. She held toward him a ring of the yellowest gold, and standing aloft on the band, a stone like a star, from which flew splendid beams like the light of the sun. And mark you well, it was worth a rich king's ransom. But right away he refused it, replying in haste, "My lady gay, I can hardly take gifts at the moment. Having nothing to give, I'd be wrong to take gifts in turn." She implored him again, still more earnestly, but again he refused it and swore on his knighthood that he could take nothing. Grieved that he still would not take it, she told him then, "If taking my ring would be wrong on account of its worth, and being so much in my debt would be bothersome to you, I'll give you merely this sash that's of slighter value." She swiftly unfastened the sash that encircled her waist, tied around her fair tunic, inside her bright mantle. It was made of green silk and was marked of gleaming gold, embroidered along the edges, ingeniously stitched.
You just have to scroll this thing.
Oh, I know it. There it is. This too she held out to the knight, and she earnestly begged him to take it, trifling as it was to remember her by. But again he said no. There was nothing at all he could take, neither treasure nor token, until such time as the Lord had granted him some end to his adventure. And therefore I pray you do not be displeased, but give up, for I cannot grant it, however fair or right. I know your worth and price, and my debt's by no means slight. I swear through fire and ice to be your humble knight. Do you lay aside this silk, said the lady then, because it seems unworthy, as well it may? Listen, little as it is, it seems less in value, but he who knew what charms are woven within it might place a better price on it, perchance. For the man who goes to battle in this green lace, as long as he keeps it looped around him, no man under heaven can hurt him, whoever may try, for nothing on earth, however uncanny, can kill him. The knight cast about in distress, and it came to his heart this might be a treasure indeed, when the time came to take the blow he had bargained to suffer beside the Green Chapel. If the gift meant remaining alive, it might well be worth it. So he listened in silence and suffered the lady to speak, and she pressed the sash upon him and begged him to take it. And Gawain did, and she gave him the gift with great pleasure, and begged him for her sake to say not a word, and to keep it hidden from her lord. And he said he would, that except for themselves, this business would never be known to a man. All right, so she's trying to, seduce him. He's like, no, no, no. Let me just take a couple kisses. And she's like, take this ring. No, no, he won't do it. Take the sash. No, but then she tells him, hey, no one can harm anybody who's wearing this. He's thinking, But she said, if you take it, you can't tell anybody, especially not my husband, that you got it. And they can't tell anybody, that you've got it. So would that be going against something for what he's promised he would do, to always be honest, right? That would go against the code of chivalry. So here we have a conundrum. What's he to do, right? It would save his life. He could look really brave and all that and awesome. Only he would know, and I guess, of course, she would know. So what do you do? He's going to do it, isn't he?
Mhm.
All right, what do y'all think about that?
I mean, that's kind of like everybody else. There's only a certain level of integrity that, I mean, once it starts helping you, like if you need something,
Sure,
then it's really hard to just not do it
it's true.
when nobody will know.
It's true.
Yeah.
And this is, what's up for grabs? This is his life. I mean, it's not like it's a new pair of shoes or a roller skates or whatever. This is his life we're talking about. So, I mean, we see that. We can understand. All right. Where did I stop? Oh, yeah. Is it here? Oh, she pressed. Okay. And she pressed the sash upon him and begged him to take it. And Gawain, she's really, good grief. It's not like she really wants him to take this. And she gave him the gift with great pleasure and begged him for her sake to say not a word. I've already read that. And he said he would, that except for themselves, this business would never be known to a man. He thanked her earnestly and boldly. His heart now ran. And now a third time she leaned down and kissed her man. So 3 times he got a kiss from her. All right. When the Lord returns at the end of the 3rd day, Gawain gives him a kiss, but does not reveal the gift of the sash. Because remember, they're supposed to be exchanging the gift that he's giving Gawain whatever he hunted, and in the whole poem he hunts specific animals, and it tells you, and they're symbolic on what they are. But here, they're exchanging everything, but he's holding back the sash. All right, so are we ready for this part? We may finish this today. Won't that be exciting? All right, great. That way we can read on, because we were a little bit behind. I was a little worried. Do you want to read now, Tracker?
Sure.
Okay.
On New Year's Day, Gawain must go to meet the Green Knight wearing the green sash. He sets out before, I can't read that.
Oh, Dawn.
Dawn?
It's a
Dawn,
weird
okay.
day.
Gawain arrives at a mild, rugged place where he sees no chapel but hears the sound of a blade being sharpened. Gawain calls out, and the Green Knight appears with a huge axe. The Green Knight greets Gawain, who, with pounding heart, blows his head to take his bows his head to take his blow.
So he goes
That's
up and he hears. Y'all don't hear how scary this place is either. It's a scary. In the version of your textbook that you normally would have, it says it was the most. It's an oxymoron because he calls it sacred and unholy. It's the most unholy sacred place or something. He says it looked like a place where like devil worshippers would go. This real scary place where it is, and he hears that blade being sharpened. Ooh. All right, let's keep reading.
Quickly, then the man in green made ready, grabbed up his keen ground axe to strike Sir Gawain. With all the might in his body, he bore it aloft and sharply brought it down as if to slay him. Had he made it fall with the force he first intended, he would have stretched out the strongest man on earth. But Sir Gawain cast a side glance at the axe as it glided down to give him his kingdom come. And his shoulders jerked away from the iron a little, and the Green Knight caught the handle, holding it back, and mocked the prince with many a proud reproof.
So Gawain, he flinched, didn't he?
Yeah,
Which, I mean, it would be, I can't imagine any of this, but he'll just be perfectly still and let someone have a whack at your head. So he flinches. Okay, let's see what happens.
All right. You can't be Gawain, he said. Whose thought so good, a man who's never been daunted on hill or dale. But look how you flinch for fear before anything's felt. I've never heard tell that Sir Gawain was ever a coward. I never moved a muscle when you came down in Arthur's hall. I never so much as winced. My head fell off at my feet, yet I never flickered. But you tremble at heart before you're touched. I'm bound to be called a better man than you, then, my lord. Said Gawain, I shed sheed.
A shod. I think it's
I
shod.
shied once, no more. You have my word, but if my head falls to the stones, it cannot be restored. But be brisk, man, by your faith, and come to the point. Deal out my dorm if you can, and do it at once, for I'll stand for one good stroke, and I'll start no more until your axe has hit, and then I swear. Here goes then, said the other, and heaves it aloft and stands there waiting, scowling like a madman. He swings down sharp, then suddenly stops again, holds back the axe with his hand before it can hurt, and Gawain stands there stirring not even a nerve. He stood there until a stone or the stalk of a tree that wedged in rocky ground by 100 roots. Oh, merrily then he spoke, the man in green. Good, you've got your heart back. Now I can hit you. May all the glory the good King Arthur gave you prove affectionate now, even if it ever can, and save your neck. Enraged Sir Gawain shouted, hit me, hero. I'm right up to here with your threats. Is it you that's the cringing coward after all? Woo, the man in green. He's wrathful too. No pauses then. I'll pay up and pledge at once, I vow. He takes his stride to strike and lifts his lip and brow. It's not a thing Gawain can like, for nothing can save him now.
So what happens the second time? Did he move at all? He didn't move, but what did the Green Knight do?
He stopped.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just saying to see if he'd flinch. Oh, good, you didn't move. It's taking forever. All right, let's see what happens now. Third time.
I have to stutter today.
You're doing great. It's hard. It's not easy to read. This is hard to read.
Yeah. He raises that axe up lightly and flashes it down, and that blinding bit bites in at the knight's bare neck. But hard as he hammered it down, it hurt him no more than the nape of his neck, so it split the skin. The sharp blade slit to the flesh through the shiny hide, and red blood shot to his shoulders and spattered to the ground. And when Gawain saw his blood where it blinked in the snow, he sprung from the man with a leap to the length of a spear, and snatched up his helmet swiftly and slapped it on, shifted his shield into place with a jerk of his shoulders, and snapped his sword out faster than side, said boldly, and mortal born of his mother that he was, there was never on earth a man so happy by half. No more strokes, my friend, you've had your swing. I've stood one swap of your axe without resistance. If you offer me any more, I'll repay you at once with all the force and fire I've got, as you will see.
All right, so what happens then?
He jumps up and tries to leave.
Okay, so he swing, but the Green Knight comes down and only just does what?
A nick.
Just nicks him, and then the Green Knight, sees the blood, which means he's still alive. He's happy, and he grabs his stuff like, okay, I did what I said I was going to do, but now I'm defending myself because I met my obligation, right? Yeah. All right, let's see what happens. You want me to go? You want me to do it now, son? Or you got it?
Sure.
All right. The Green Knight remained where he stood, relaxing on his axe, settled the shaft on the rocks and leaned on the sharp end, and studied the young man standing there, shoulders hunched, and considered that staunch and doughty stance he took, undaunted yet, and in his heart he liked it. And then he said merrily with a mighty voice, with a roar like rushing wind, he reproved the knight. Here, don't be such an ogre on your ground. Nobody here has behaved with bad manners towards you or done a thing except as the contract said. I owed you a stroke, and I've struck. Consider yourself well paid. And now I release you from all further duties. If I'd cared to hustle, it may be perchance that I might have hit somewhat harder, and then you might well be cross. The first time I lifted my axe, it was light-hearted sport. I merely fainted and made no mark, as was right. For you kept your pact, for you kept our pact of the first night with honor, and abided by your word, and held yourself true to me, giving me all you owed as a good man should. I fainted a second time, friend, for the morning you kissed my pretty wife twice and returned me the kisses. So that was his wife. That was the Green Knight's wife. He's really Bertilac. Let's see. And so for the first 2 days, mere faints, nothing more severe. A man who's true to his word, there's nothing he needs to fear. You failed me, though, on the third exchange, so I've tapped you here. That sash you wear by your scabbard belongs to me. My own wife gave it to you, as I ought to know. I know, too, of your kisses and all your words and my wife's advances, for I myself arranged them. It was I who sent her to test you. I'm convinced you're the finest man that ever walked this earth, as a pearl is of greater price than dry white peas. So Gawain indeed stands out above all other knights. But you lacked a little, sir. You were less than loyal, but since it was not, that's okay. But since it was not for the sash itself or for lust, but because you loved your life, I blame you less. Sir Gawain stood in a study a long, long while, so miserable with disgrace that he wept within, and all the blood of his chest went up to his face, and he shrank away in shame for the man's gentle words. The first words Gawain could find to say were these: Cursed be cowardice and covetousness both, villainy and vice that destroy all virtue. He caught at the knots of the girdle and loosened them, and fiercely flung the sash at the Green Knight. So he takes it off. He's mad. There, my fault. The foul fiend vex it. Foolish cowardice taught me, from fear of your stroke, to bargain covetousness, and abandon my kind, the selflessness and loyalty suitable in knights. Here I stand, faulty and false, much as I feared them, both of them untruth and treachery. May they see sorrow and care. I can't deny my guilt. My works shine none too fair. Give me your good will, and henceforth I'll beware. He's being really hard on himself, isn't he? The Sir Gawain is. And let's see what he says. At that, the Green Knight laughed, saying graciously, Whatever harm I've had, I hold it amended, since now you're confessed so clean, acknowledging sins and bearing the plain penance of my point. I consider you polished, as white and as perfectly clean as if you had never fallen since first you were born. And I give you, sir, this gold embroidered girdle, for the cloth is as green as my gown. Sir Gawain, think on this when you go forth among great princes. Remember our struggle here. Recall to your mind this rich token. Remember the Green Chapel. And now, come on, let's both go back to my castle and finish the New Year's revels with feasting and joy, not strife. I beg you, said the Lord, and said, As for my wife, she'll be your friend, no more a threat against your life. No, sir, said the knight, and seized his helmet and quickly removed it, thanking the Green Knight. I've reveled too well already, but fortune be with you. May he who gives all honors honor you well. And so they embraced and kissed and commended each other to the Prince of Paradise, and parted then in the cold. Sir Gawain turned again to Camelot and his lord, and as for the man in green, he went wherever he would. All right, what do you guys think about it? Who was the Green Knight? Was he a good guy, bad guy, ambiguous? What do y'all think?
I think he was both, because if that was anyone else, he would have actually killed him. So he was both good guy and bad guy.
Okay.
He's a man of his word.
He is a man of his word. And he said, and he was, what he said to Gawain about wearing that sash, he said, you didn't do it out of greed, and you were good with my, you didn't do things that you shouldn't have with my wife, so that was good. He said it was understandable for your life that you did this. So he finds him pure and good, right? What do you think about it? I mean, how do y'all feel about Sir Gawain? Do you think he did for all the testing he went through?
Yeah, you should have.
I mean, he's honorable.
He was honorable? Okay, now, hang on. Let's just look. Because remember, he's a knight of the round table. What did you say, Luther? He should have taken the scarf, because taking that, he had to be dishonest to do it. And that's a sure point, right? But if you think, what if he hadn't have taken it? What would have happened? Okay. Because it was just, this was
Or
a
he would have
test.
died. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Right. Well, we wonder. Now, do y'all see anything else into this? Like, what else could the Green Knight symbolize? What could this story symbolize? Because remember, writers were writing about values in their time period. So what kinds of things are important to them is shown through this story?
Kind of things are important to them. Integrity,
Integrity, sure. Honesty, honor, good.
bravery, loyalty.
Bravery, loyalty, yes.
Nobility.
Yes, absolutely.
Ha, yes, I just used
What,
it.
what about endurance? Being able to go and withstand all the trials of the weather. And we don't think much about it because we are so fortunate to have our vehicles and nice ways to travel. But back in the day, it was not so. People would never purposely head out in the wintertime unless it was something like this, and not on a journey, on an adventure, because it was so dangerous, it was so harsh. What did you? And this version is a lot shorter than the one in the textbook, but I I like it for time. I feel like it was really good for the time we had. What we're going to do now is I don't have time to start anything else. We've got about 8 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and give you your tech time, give you time to get settled for when we go. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Get time to kind of do things like that. And then on Wednesday, we'll have vocab and we'll start. I'm actually got a little video I'm going to have. Thank you. The video we're going to watch. And then we're going to read the Canterbury Tales. I'm so excited. I'll come get your card.
Oh, yeah, cards.
Thank you. Thank you for reading.
Oh, no, it's fine.
No, you do. You do.
I know I can.
It's gonna help my reading.
It's gonna help his big brain.
It's gonna help my small brain. Oh, dude, today was horrible. I can't see very far, so the entire time.
Yeah, I watched like zooming in and out like microscope.
Yeah, well, my eyes are horrible, so I gotta find the perfect spot between two blindness.
Anybody else have your cards?
And like, whenever she started reading again, I realized that I was saying Gawain wrong. I said Gawain. It's Gawain.
Yes, I know it's, I mean, it's really hard. We don't have in school. It's because, I know seniors, you know, we're doing,
I thought you were gonna hit my knee if I did that, but it's like, I'm doing the keeping.
My toe, I was waiting for my toe and fall asleep.
Too bad you didn't kick harder.
Let's do it again. Just kick the tree.
Kick me in the shin.
okay. Hey guys, be on your best behavior. If you have to leave early, please sit in the back row, okay? So you'll quietly leave.
I need to
Yes.
sit somewhere where I can leave early. Okay.
I'll see y'all down there. I'll be down there in just a minute. I gotta make a note to myself. All right, so resume, password, and login info. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and clean the desk before I go down there, because if I don't, I just won't clean those. I'll clean them anyway.
What?
If I don't clean these, I'm trying to forget to, and the kids will come in and sit down. I'll see you down there. I'll be down there in just a minute.
Yes, ma'am. See you later, Miss Reeves.
Have a good day, guys. Hey, bye guys, we've been called to the auditorium.